Burkina Faso farming rebellion, Burkina Faso billion-dollar farming, Burkina Faso agriculture revolution, Burkina Faso freedom movement, African farmers uprising, Ibrahim Traore news, Africa fights back, billion-dollar rebellion Africa, farming as a weapon, Burkina Faso latest news, African economic freedom, Burkina Faso versus foreign powers, Burkina Faso sovereignty, Burkina Faso success story, viral African stories. Burkina Faso just spent nearly $1 billion, not on weapons, but on seeds and soil. This isn't just farming. It's a full-blown rebellion against hunger, against dependency, against the old world order. So, is this the smartest revolution Africa's ever seen? Or a dangerous gamble? Let's find out. Burkina Faso has just invested nearly $1 billion, not in weapons, but in seeds and soil. And they have just one goal: to never need foreign food again. Is this a desperate gamble or the smartest rebellion Africa has ever seen? Let's find out. This is not just a new policy. It's a national strike against dependency. Burkina Faso, once known for instability, is changing its story. While other countries wait for grain and food aid, Burkina Faso is planting its own solution, literally. This operation is called the Agricultural Offensive, but it's not just rural development. It's a military-style plan using land, people, and logistics to stop food imports and aid. The numbers are shocking. Almost $1 billion have been poured into farming, not to please donors, but to take back power, economic power, strategic power, mental power. Why now? For decades, food made Burkina Faso weak. Almost 70% of food was imported. Rice came from Asia, wheat from Europe, corn, fertilizer, even chicken. Almost everything came from abroad. Whenever a crisis hit, drought, war, or sanctions, the food system collapsed. And so did the country's control. But something has changed. Since 2023, the government's voice has changed from surviving to standing tall. The $981 million didn't come from outside loans. It came from inside, from savings, budget changes, and emergency national funds. The message is clear. If the West cuts aid, Burkina Faso will rise from the ground up. This is like a silent revolution. Thousands of hectares are being used for farming. Old state land is being handed to cooperatives. Dry land is being turned green with water systems. The country is being redrawn, not with borders, but with farms. What makes this historic isn't just the size, it's the silence. The West didn't see it coming. And that's exactly what Burkina Faso wanted. While the world talked about coups and terrorism, the real change was happening in quiet villages, near dry rivers, inside big farm buildings filled with new machines. Even more surprising, farming is now tied to security. In places where rebels used to rule, farming teams now work side by side with local defense volunteers. They carry seed bags, not guns. They lay irrigation pipes, not mines. These farms are no longer war zones. They are now the front lines of economic freedom. And yet, the world barely noticed. No panic in Brussels. No alerts in Washington. Because no one expected Burkina Faso's silent declaration. We will never beg for food again. This is more than just farming. This is about pride. About rewriting the story of a nation. This billion-dollar plan is a loud no to the old story that says Burkina Faso is too poor, too unstable, too dependent. Now, Burkina Faso is writing its own story. But here's the big question. Where is all this money going? What systems are being rebuilt? Who is making this work in the fields? You've seen the $981 million figure. But this is not just cash. It's a total redesign of the entire food system, from seed to storage, from fish pond to frying pan. The key idea? Food is power, and power comes from ownership. For too long, farmers were treated as beggars. Seeds came from donors. Fertilizer from Europe. Machines were broken or borrowed. Now, Burkina Faso is building something totally new, a national food machine that answers to no one. It starts with the seeds. The government is giving out strong, high-yield seeds that fit the local climate. These are not test seeds. They are tools for battle. In regions like Bull de Moon and Cest, drought-resistant rice seeds are being used with military accuracy. Behind them come pesticides and fertilizer from non-Western countries, given straight to farmer groups. No middlemen. Next, the machines. Tractors, tillers, and pumps are arriving, not rented, not donated. They're owned by the state. Machines are not extra here. They are the base of the system. They let fewer people grow more food faster. And the government isn't just handing them out. They are building repair stations all across the country. Young mechanics are being trained to fix and maintain everything. Tools become lasting infrastructure. But that's only half the story. Burkina Faso's big move is in water control. In the past, farming meant one crop a year. Two, if rain helped. That's over. Now, huge trenching projects are moving water from rivers into control grids. Solar pumps pull groundwater to fields that were once dry. Rain no longer decides who eats. The government does. And this control goes beyond the harvest. The biggest food loss in Burkina Faso came after crops were grown. 30 to 40% of food was lost because of poor storage. Now, they're building solar dryers, sealed bunkers, and local cold rooms. Farmers can now hold their crops, wait for good prices, or even export. It's not just food, it's power. Farmers no longer have to accept low prices. They can sell smart, work together, and build real economic strength. None of this works without organization. Across the country, farmer cooperatives are being trained in finance and linked to buyers. Farmland is being mapped. Satellites will soon track crop health in real time. This is a data revolution, happening quietly. While the world debates giving more or less aid, Burkina Faso is doing something bold, making aid useless. But who is really making this work? Not the politicians. The people. The machines may power the change. But the people are its soul. Not generals or CEOs, but the forgotten ones. The youth without degrees, the women without land, and the millions displaced by conflict. These people are not victims anymore. They are the leaders of Burkina Faso's new food strategy. The core of this project is a major shift. If the state wants sovereignty, the people must become sovereign. It starts with the youth. Over 70% of Burkina Faso's population is under 30. The government isn't just hiring youth for labor. They're giving them a real stake in the food economy. Training centers teach skills, from running tractors to managing cooperatives. But the biggest change is this. Young people aren't just workers. They are becoming owners. Unused land is being handed to youth groups. In return, they must grow food, care for water systems, and reinvest profits. It's a military model with farming goals. And it's working. In the Nord region, displaced youth from Djibo now run a full onion and pepper farm, with solar dryers and cold storage. In just 6 months, they became self-sufficient. Now they export and hire others. These youth once lived in fear. Now they have tools, real tools, land, income, and stability. And it's not just about young men. Women who were pushed to the sidelines are now getting legal farm ownership, especially in poultry, dried fruit, and shea butter. In Bobo Dioulasso, women run mango groups. With solar tech, they produce dried mangoes for export. They don't wait for buyers. They sign contract ahead of time. They are no longer laborers. They are bosses. Even in unstable zones, the government pairs farming with defense. Displaced families are given land, water systems, homes, and tools. These are not refugee camps. They are new food towns. This is not just about hunger. It's about rebuilding identity. Farming is no longer the job of the poor. It's the job of the revolutionary. As young people plant, trade, and plan together, something amazing grows. Hope. And when people have hope, they stay. They protect. They build peace. This is the peace dividend of food freedom. And while all this is happening in the fields, another quiet battle is happening in labs, training centers, and on screens. Burkina Faso is now betting on something powerful. Science. They've joined a global program, Atoms for Food, using nuclear science for farming. Now, local scientists test soil with radiation tools, seeing what's missing, adding only what's needed. This is precision farming. They also fight pests without poison. Using radiation, they sterilize male insects and release them to stop breeding. It's clean, safe, and Burkina Faso's own idea. Digital tools are also growing. Mobile apps help farmers track weather, soil, and disease. Local drones fly over farms, checking growth and helping with crop planting. Local engineers build everything. This is no copy of Europe. This is a custom African system. Even mango dry now uses solar and new packaging to preserve food for months, not days. Universities help build these. And young people are being trained not just to farm, but to code, fix drones, and build machines. Farming is now a skilled job, and that makes the youth return to the villages with power tools and plans. Burkina Faso is proving something big. Africa doesn't need to import innovation. It can build its own. But here's the final piece. How will Burkina Faso protect all this from outside pressure? Because now it's not just growing crops, it's growing freedom. It's rejecting the old food system. And that makes some people nervous. For years, food aid came with strings, free food that crushed local markets and forced yearly begging. Now Burkina Faso says, we don't need you anymore. It's cutting imports, ending food aid, and calling food security a matter of national defense. President Ibrahim Traoré says it clearly. If you don't control your food, you're not free. This message is spreading. Mali and Niger are listening. These countries are forming a quiet alliance. Grow local, trade local. Western agribusiness is losing ground. Fertilizer companies, food exporters, donor groups, they all feel the shake. Because if Burkina Faso wins, the whole system of aid and dependency could collapse. But pressure is building. Some trade partners are being told not to work with Burkina Faso. Some aid offers come with hidden strings. Supply chains are watched. Bank transfers delayed. These are old tactics. But Burkina Faso is ready. It's working with non-Western partners, building food-sharing pacts, and using local currency trade. They know, if you can't break us with money, you'll try with stories, calling self-reliance unstable or extreme. But Burkina Faso has passed the point of no return. This food revolution is too big, too loved, too real to stop now. And maybe, just maybe, this dusty, proud, landlocked nation has given Africa the blueprint it's been waiting for. So what happens when a country stops begging and starts planting? Could Burkina Faso's food revolution spark an African awakening? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more stories on Black history, culture, and civilization.